Hey, Bob. All right, let's start. So, yesterday was day 11 in Elizabeth City for our Andrew Brown protests. Again, Andrew was shot and killed by police executing what they claimed at the time was a search warrant, which they later switched their story to an arrest warrant. There is video footage of them on the back of pickup trucks from a city camera going across the street. They're on the bed of a pickup truck with assault weapons, AR-15 specifically, mounted and ready. The kill shot for Andrew Brown was in the back of the head, while his hands were on the steering wheel. They opened fire in a school zone, not even half a mile from an elementary school. Stray bullets from the police officers shooting, which I would, this is, it's ridiculous. They shot, to my understanding, several dozen times. Stray bullets went into neighbors' houses, through the walls. Some bullets through the wall and being lodged into a crock pot in the kitchen. Some bullets and these are neighboring houses. These are not Andrew Brown's house. This is just random people that live there. The police are so horrible at their job that they almost killed people in a residential school zone. And those are the details. But yesterday was our 11th straight day. I have been attending every single day of protesting. Now, I have, skipped some specific demonstrations. Yesterday, there was a march earlier in the afternoon. And I did not attend. I took a nap instead. But I attended everything from about 4 p.m. onward. And so that's what I have footage of. To my understanding, there was a march through Ehring House, which is the main road of commerce, that I slept for. But, whatever. It was like 1 o'clock or something. You know what? I'm taking a nap. If I'm going to stay out till midnight, I'm taking a nap. I'm going to skip that one. So, but yeah, so I arrive at the scene at around 4 p.m. We all start mobilizing at around 5:45 to 6 o'clock. We wait for the crowd to show up. And again, if you want to look at all the Twitter thread and listen to all the audio of all these videos, I don't want to listen to the audio of every single clip because it bogs it down. I just use this as a storytelling. But feel free to follow along, pause the stream, listen to the videos. I'm considering doing videos that are just like rips of all my Twitter clips in the order that they appear in, and then just uploading them to YouTube so you can get more of like a more like kind of real time, but it's not it's not real time, but like a more just like on the ground experience. So I might do that if y'all want me to do that. Edit these all into one video so it's easier for watching. I will do that. But other than that, this is just like the commentary. So yeah, we get ready to march, and then we travel to major roads. Once again, as you can see, that's me. I'm wearing the hat. And so we're in major roads. We're just chilling. We're having a good time. We are making our voices heard. As you can tell, my voice is no longer hearable because I made it heard. It's like, I made it heard within the herd. This is the herd. Anyway, so while we're marching, we stop at one of Andrew's family members' locations, and we have a little moment of silence, and we continue to march toward the scene where the shooting took place, which was at the corner between Perry and Roanoke. And so we continue in that direction. Put some audio on. There you go. There you go. We're chanting, we're screaming. And so here's a little bit of the police at this point. So I wanna do like a little bit of like a time lapse here on the Elizabeth City Police and their escort of the protests. So as it first started, the police were supportive of the protests. They said, the sheriff's office overlooked us, didn't tell us they were executing this warrant, blah, blah, blah. We understand you were on your side. That's all been thrown out the window. The the Elizabeth City Police doesn't give a fuck. They are just as much our oppressor as the city council, as the mayor, as the sheriff's office, and as the 300-mile away bust-in riot police. They are all our enemies. There is no exception. I mean, I'm down to listen to a potential exception, to be honest with you. Like, if you want to tell me why and how there's an exception for our oppressors, then I'm willing to listen to that, but I cannot guarantee you that I will agree. But either way, it's hard to see. But there's a bunch of cars going through, and there's still, like, protesters. Specifically, before it gets dark, we have a lot of elderly people with us. And so, sometimes they're a little slow. So we decide to slow down a little bit, wait for them to catch up. And traffic yesterday was a real big problem for several parts throughout the day, and I'll get into that later as well. But there's a lot of angry people that are driving their cars around Elizabeth City. And for whatever reason, they're more concerned with getting their Taco Bell on time than they are with getting justice for someone who was shot and killed in their city. I don't know why that is the case. Personally, I think if you need that Taco Bell, I mean, DoorDash is an option. I mean, you can wait an extra 5 minutes. It's possible. And so, yeah, that's the thing. Do you guys move if there's someone who's trying to get home? Chat question from Nice. We move only if we recognize that someone is a supporter of our movement. So normally, 9 times out of 10, someone will roll down their window and say hey, insert person here, because they recognize someone in the crowd, and then they'll say yo, I gotta go do this, and then everyone moves out of the way. So yes, if someone is a supporter of the protest, we will absolutely move and make space for them, no questions asked. Really. But if someone is rolling down the window and going God damn, we're gonna surround the car and not let them move for a significant portion of time. So that's kind of how we judge that one. And of course, we move for emergency vehicles as well. So we are marching down Perry Street at this point again, the street where the shooting took place. And again, I want to remind everyone that this took place in a school zone. This took place. There were several stray bullets that went into other people's homes. This is not a joking matter. The police are crazy. They're crazy motherfuckers. And that needs to be understood. Again, the Elizabeth City Police, crazy motherfuckers. They're our oppressors. They're not your friend. The Pasquotank Sheriff office they're not your friends. They're crazy motherfuckers. They're killers and they're murderers. And that needs to be understood. We need to have I know it sounds like I'm a crazy radical, spewing garbage, right? But you need to understand, these motherfuckers drove in looking like Al-Qaeda on the back of a pickup truck with AR-15s, shot into random people's homes in a school zone. They're crazy, fucked up, murderous motherfuckers, and you need to understand that. Sheriff Tommy Wooten, he's a crazy, fucked up murderer. All of his deputies are crazy, fucked up murderers. And we need to actually, as a society, realize that that's what they are. Police belong in prison. Every single one of them. Their only time I will accept a police officer being good is if they're a secret Antifa super soldier and they don't enforce any actual laws and just leak all police department information to the public at all times. But guess what, motherfucker? That person doesn't exist. And as it stands, police are ruining people's lives for things like arresting. Again, I want to remind everyone, Andrew Brown was murdered over drug charges. Drug charges. Drug charges. A made-up fucking law that doesn't make any goddamn sense. What was the war on drugs started for? In the words of Richard Nixon, it was to target, quote, the blacks and the hippies. That is why they started the war on drugs, because they wanted to create a way so that they would not have people vote against them. Black people and hippies specifically were voting against Republicans like Richard Nixon. So they decided to put forth the war on drugs as a way of locking people that they disagree with up and then sending them to prison and stripping their right to vote. That is why Andrew Brown was murdered, because of the war on drugs. Does it really matter if someone has drugs or does drugs? No. We need to organize a society where if someone does have a drug problem, they can get help with their drug problem without being shot and killed in the street or, sent to prison for 10 to 20 years. That's the world that we need to live in, and that is not the world that we live in today. And so I want to be very clear here. I don't give a fuck if Andrew Brown had drugs. I don't give a fuck if Andrew Brown sold drugs. I don't give a fuck. What I do care about is the fact that he had no drugs on his person, in his car, or in his house when police killed him. That's what I do care about. So they killed him over having drugs at some point in the past. That's why they killed him. Not because he was actively selling drugs to kids. No, 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 no. They killed him because at one point in his history, he had taken drugs in front of a police officer or had gotten caught with drugs on his person. That's why he was murdered. Not because he was actively dangerous, not because he was violent, not because he was a criminal, but because at one point in his 40-year life, he was caught with drugs on his person, and that made him a target of the police force for the rest of his very short life. And that needs to be understood, right? Who gives a fuck if someone does drugs? Who gives a fuck if someone smokes weed? Who gives a fuck if someone, snorts cocaine? I don't give a flying shit. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't affect my life, right? But police, their whole role in society is to cull the population of undesirables. They don't want people like Andrew to vote. They don't want people of color to vote. They don't want people who disagree with fascism to vote. That's why they will stop at nothing to strip people of their voting rights. That's why we do not have a universal right to vote in the Constitution of this country. There needs to be loopholes. There needs to be loopholes in order to keep certain people from voting, in order to keep the fascist regime of the United States up and running. Look at this recent election. Joe Biden has been elected. What's changed? I mean, we're not off on the course of absolute dystopia that Donald Trump was leading us on. But Joe Biden is asleep at the wheel. Just because he's veering off into a nearby forest instead of driving down the highway of societal collapse doesn't mean that we're any better. What we need to do is we need to go into reverse and we need to turn this fucker around. And Joe Biden is not doing that. This motherfucker crashed into a tree and is currently comatose waiting for emergency responders. Where is Joe Biden? Why isn't he calling for justice for Andrew Brown? Why isn't Joe Biden telling riot police and military occupants to get the fuck out of my small city? Because he doesn't give a fuck. Because he doesn't give a flying shit. Joe Biden helped create the carceral state that he is currently, as of this current moment, defending. And I need people to understand that. But anyway, let's keep going. So we march down Perry. We take a moment of silence at the scene where the shooting took place. And so, as you can see, there's a mural being painted on the wall of that home. This is the exact scene where the car veered off after Andrew was killed. And this is where it happened. This is where police fired into a school zone. This is where police shot into random people's homes, nearly killing people. This is where police shot Andrew in the back of the head while his hands were on the steering wheel. And so we came here, we did a moment of silence. We told everyone that, this is where things happened. This is what happened. And this is why it happened. And so, again, and I want to remind everyone that Andrew Brown was not a violent gangster thug. He was not like a criminal with guns running through the street killing children or something. He had one point in his life had a drug charge. A charge that doesn't make any sense. That would be again, imagine making sugar criminal. Imagine making coffee criminal. Seriously, I want you to think about this. What is the difference between cigarettes and sugar? What is the difference between alcohol and marijuana? What is the difference between coffee and cocaine? I mean, really, it's just severity. It's just slight differences. And I'm going to be honest with you. If we're going to have certain things be controlled substances, we need to really reel in alcohol. We need to reel in cigarettes. We need to reel in sugar. If y'all motherfuckers are going to tell me that cocaine is harmful to my health, yet if I go into a grocery store, 99% of things on the shelves have added sugar in the form of fructose, bitch motherfucker, I'm not buying your snake oil, right? So the drug system in this country needs to change. We need to legalize, regulate, and provide rehabilitation services for all of those who choose, right, in this country for all drugs. No drug should result in someone being massacred in the street. No drug should result in someone being sent to prison for the rest of their life. It's a made-up, phony, bullshit, nonsense excuse to strip people of their voting rights. Plain and motherfucking simple. And I need to be very clear about that because there's a lot of newer viewers that might be here that don't understand. Oh, he had drugs. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a flying fuck? You've done drugs. I've done drugs. Everyone in the chat's done drugs. The only difference is if you're in my chat room saying Andrew was a thug, chances are you're a white person. And that's why you're in this chat room being a racist motherfucker. And that's why you're not being shot in the back of the head when your hands are on the steering wheel. That's the difference with you and people like Andrew Brown. And that is why I am marching, because again, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. That's something we need to understand. If someone down the street from me can get massacred over at some point in their history doing drugs, I could get massacred. Anyone in my house could get massacred. Anyone on my street could get massacred. Anyone in my city can get massacred. Anyone in my country can get massacred by a white supremacist terrorist organization that has been sanctioned and paid for by Joe Biden, by Donald Trump, by Barack Obama, and all those other motherfuckers that have been in charge of this disastrous regime called the United States of America. I know I'm getting a little philosophical here. So we continue marching once again to the major road of commerce from the scene of the crime, where again police murdered Andrew Brown, and I use the term murder here. Some people use execute. We could also say assassinate. All of those things are highly accurate. The Sheriff's Department of Pasquotate County, they all committed homicide, and they need to be held accountable. Tommy Wooten needs to be in jail for the rest of his life. The people that killed Andrew on the scene need to be in jail for the rest of their lives. They are murderers. If someone can spend 40 years in jail for doing cocaine, someone can spend the rest of their lives in jail for murdering someone by shooting them in the back of the head. And if you disagree, you're a fucking piece of garbage. So we occupy this intersection. Cops are trying to, at this point, predict where we're going. It's getting a little dark, as you can see. There's not that many cops. There's a lot of people, and I want to be very clear. Once we're in this major road, there are a lot of people. Again, this county, 50% voted for Donald Trump, 50% voted for Joe Biden. Now, again, people voting for Joe Biden can mean they're intelligent. That could mean they're garbage, right? We've had a lot of white liberals show up and say, I support you, but please stop blocking the road and that kind of stupid crap, right? So that, you have to understand. But that being said, there are 50% of these people that voted for Donald motherfucking Trump. They're crazy. They're white supremacists. They're deplorables. They're fascists. They're disgusting. And they're want-to-be murderers. That's why they support the police. They themselves are too cucks. They're too beta to murder themselves. So what they do is they fund and give support to people to murder for them. That is their role. They want to vote for people to murder for them. They want to fund people to murder for them. They're too lazy and inexperienced and too scared to do it themselves. So they support other forms of white supremacist terrorist organizations, such as the Republican Party, such as the police, so that they can do their murdering for them. And you need to understand that. So a lot of these people are driving throughout these streets, and we had a lot of interactions. I didn't get many of them on film because I don't live stream. I just take videos at certain key points. And people driving into crowds, that's not something that's easy to whip a camera out for, especially if you're trying to help people be safe. So we had a couple issues where police, again, I want to be very clear, police, the Elizabeth City police at the very start of this protest, people were under the impression that they were supportive of us. They're almost nowhere to be found. The Elizabeth City police love to come out when the riot gear comes out. They love to come out when the SWAT trucks come out. But they're nowhere to be found at this point. You might see one or two Elizabeth City police officers, but a lot of these people are out-of-state agitators. A lot of these people are in unmarked cars. A lot of these people are hiding their badge numbers, which again is an illegal act of war as far as I'm concerned. If you are hiding your badge number, then you are no longer a police officer, right? Again, either you have the badge or you don't. You can't have the badge and then no one knows what number you are. So either you have the badge fully displayed or you're a civilian. And if your badge number is blocked and you commit an illegal act, you are no longer an acting officer. You are a civilian. No one can identify you. Therefore, what's the difference between you and me in a Halloween costume? The difference is that badge number. The difference is my ability to look up that number in a police database and find your picture. That is that. That is the difference. If I dressed up in a police uniform and hid my badge number with a thin blue line, guess what, motherfucker? No one would know the difference. Why? Because I would just be LARPing. I would be dressed in a Halloween costume. And that's what these dumbass fucking pig fascists are doing. They're dressing up in Halloween costumes and they're threatening to kill people. So that needs to be understood. So we continue marching down this road. And again, the police presence is very light. It's like if you go back and look at the footage from the first couple days, you will see like 12 cop cars in front of us and in back of us at all times. Right? At this point, we see like 12 cop cars in the back of us, and then like everywhere else the cops are swarming throughout the city. Right? They're trying to shut down random parts of the city. They're trying to predict our moves. They're trying to, do that kind of stuff. So it's really strange. We have significantly more police presence in the city of Elizabeth City, yet around the protests for protecting protesters, which is their job, by the way. That is their job, to protect and to serve. I don't give a fuck if you don't like doing your job. Sometimes I don't like doing my job. Sometimes I know people that work at Taco Bell right over there, right? Because I just saw it. I know people that work at Taco Bell that don't want to do their jobs, right? But just because, that's the Taco Bell, but just because you don't want to do your job doesn't mean that it's no longer your job, right? So there's a lot of dumb motherfuckers that go out there like, oh, why are police protecting the protesters? Don't the protesters not want police to protect them? Now, me personally, I don't think that we need police protection. But again, that's their fucking job, right? So would you go to a Taco Bell and then say like, hey, I'd like a number 4, and then the other person's size? Would you be like, give me my goddamn food? Or would you be like, oh, I understand. You don't want to do your job. That's okay. And then you walk out without like having any food. Like, I'm serious. Like these dumb motherfuckers that go out there and think that it's some sort of gotcha that we're having a police escort at certain parts while marching. I'm sorry, motherfucker. That's the job they signed up for. Unless they're blocking their badge numbers, because if that's the case, they're impersonating someone who signed up for that job. So at this point, these are all supportive cars. Another thing that I have been enjoying is the fact that we've had cars who support our cause provide space around the crowds of people so that, traffic, if an angry Trumper wanted to drive into a crowd, we have a lot of supportive cars providing cover and support. And so we were basically in one of the major intersections downtown. We're at Main Street here, screaming. We've got like a bunch of people on megaphones. It's a huge thing. And there's a lot of people in cars. I also got this very good, I was in the middle here. You can see police over there. You can see police all over the place. They're trying to corner us. They're trying to box us in. They're trying to intimidate us, but it's not really working. And again, you can see a huge crowd of people. You can see a child back there on top of a car holding a sign that says like "Stop killing us." A child, by the way. I want to specify that. Imagine being a child and growing up in this environment. The United States of America is one of the most unsafe countries in the entire world to raise a child. Whether it be the high infant mortality rate, whether it be the low nutritional support, whether it be the lack of infrastructure, whether it be the lack of childcare, whether it be the awful, horrible school systems, whether it be the police violence, seeing 12-year-olds as fully grown adults as an excuse to kill them, shoot them dead in the street, right? The United States of America is one of, if not the worst country in the world for, raising children. It's horrible. It's disgusting. And again, the idea that we have a child who is using their platform and their voice as a child to plead with police officers to stop killing them is ridiculous, and it's disgusting. And of course, the cops see that and they chuckle. They go like, maybe we'll keep an eye on that one, because that's the kind of people that they are. They're crazy motherfuckers. They're homicidal losers. They've been given a badge that says that they're legally able and willing to, and also obligated to, murder people. That is their job. That is their underlined job description. That is their fine print job description. They get paid to murder people, specifically black people. That is their job. They are slave patrols. It's not that the police forces grew from slave patrols. It's not that they're the modern counterpart of slave patrols. They are slave patrols. They are effectively the same thing that they've always been. A lot of these police forces literally began as slave patrols, right? Just because you change your name and don't change your actions doesn't mean you're no longer a slave patrol. Their role and their role in society is, again, to cull the population of undesirables. And they all collectively view people of color as undesirable. They view anyone who they think might disagree with them as someone who does not deserve a vote, someone who does not deserve a voice, and most importantly, someone who does not deserve to even live on this planet. Okay? If the role of police were to protect and to serve, why would they kill people? Why would they murder people? Why would they arrest people over drugs? Why would they arrest people over, petty violations and misdemeanors? Why would they try to arrest peaceful protesters? If the role of police was to protect and serve, they would not do these things. The role of police is to cull the population of undesirables. If you think any differently, chances are you're a white person. Chances are you don't leave your house too often. Chances are you're a cop yourself, and I don't trust you. Chances are you're a Republican. Chances are you want to kill me. Chances are you want to kill my family, and I don't give a fuck about what you have to think. All I care about is my fellow human, and if you are willing to go out there and advocate for, fund, and support and defend the murder of black people, you are not my fellow human. You are an outsider. You are fringe. You are disgusting, and you need to be yourself culled from society. Go live in an island somewhere. Go in the middle of the woods. Go be an individualist and pick yourself up by your bootstraps somewhere else. We don't need people like you in our peaceful society. I want to remind everyone, nearly 2 straight weeks of peaceful protesting, and the police have only acted in violent fashion. They have attacked people. They have brutalized people. They have arrested people for their First Amendment right to spontaneous gatherings of peaceful protesting. So no, the police's role in society is not to protect and serve. If you think that, you're a dumb motherfucker. Try reading a book for once in your goddamn fucking life. So we end the protest. Just kidding. But we usually end the protest of public safety. And so I'm sitting down on the curb. I'm tired. You're banging on the curb. Keep them rusty, as Joe Biden would say. And so some people suggest going to the bridge. The bridge, and I want to remind everyone, the bridge was occupied several times in the original week of the protesting. And a member of the city council who likes to march with us came out after the curfew was instated and said, as long as we don't block the bridge, they will lift the curfew. So that turned out to be a lie. What they did was they pushed the curfew back. Now, again, if they lifted the curfew, right, what that would mean is that all the out-of-state, out-of-county, out-of-city police would need to go home. That's what that would mean. That would mean that instead of violating the Third Amendment and kicking people out of college dormitories, right, that would mean instead of violating the Second Amendment and having guns without being a well-regulated militia, that would mean without violating the First Amendment to destroy the lives of peaceful protesters, right? So the reason the curfew is at midnight is because they don't want these people to leave. They want to retain the military occupation. Every member of the city council is responsible for this, not just the Republicans, not just the racists. If you are voting in any capacity to retain the police presence in Elizabeth City, you are a disgusting, evil traitor, and that needs to be understood. The same thing with the mayor, the same thing with the local police department. Anyone who has any possibility of lifting this curfew but chooses not to in any fashion, whether or not that's a compromised position, is a disgusting scumbag, and they should leave my goddamn fucking city. That's what I'm saying about that. A curfew is an excuse for a military occupation, right? So people understood that they didn't want us by the bridge. So a lot of people were like, you know what? Let's go to the bridge. We got 4 hours until the curfew. 4 hours, maybe 3.5 at this point. 3.5-ish hours, closer to 3. By the time this video takes place. So we get to the bridge, and you see these motherfuckers start, they block the bridge for us, funnily enough, right? So we go to the bridge, and we all say, let's stay on the sidewalk. Let's stay on the sidewalk, right? And let the cops shut down the bridge for us. So the cops shut down the bridge for us. As you can see, they're not too bright. That's the other thing about cops, is they're dumb. Like, they're dumb motherfuckers. Right? So, like, if a crowd of 20 people who have barely known each other for the past week can come up with a plan to get cops themselves to shut down a bridge within 20 minutes, then, I mean, honestly, without shutting down without ourselves standing in the street, without ourselves shutting down the bridge, we get cops to do it for us. I mean, I guess they are protecting and serving in some capacity. They shut down the goddamn bridge for us, right? But at this point, they start arresting people. So I don't know why this person was arrested right here. I did not catch that story because I got up to this point a little late. But this person I did see. That person was arrested because they wanted to ask questions. They were in our crowd, and they said they wanted to know what the issue was with the curfew. They walked up there. Police grabbed them and arrested them. So this person was arrested for asking questions, violating the First Amendment right to, 1, peacefully protest, and 2, just ask questions. You're not allowed to walk across the street. This person was not standing in the street. They walked across the street to the police to ask them questions, and they got arrested. And that needs to be understood. These are all state troopers. These are out of town, outside agitators coming into our city, arresting our citizens for asking questions. Asking motherfucking questions. Now I ask you people, right? Why would you become a law enforcement official if you do not know the law? That would be like if I were to work at Taco Bell and I don't know how to cook. That would be like if I were to work at a pharmacy, right, and I don't know anything about medicine. That would be like if I were to be a doctor and I know nothing, or like a surgeon and I've never operated on a patient before. That would be like if I were a teacher but I've never read a book before. That's why I need you to understand. The role of police is not to protect and serve. The role of police is not to enforce law. They don't know the law. They arrested someone for asking them a question. They arrested people for peacefully protesting. The curfew itself is unconstitutional. These people do not know the law. It would be like if I were a janitor, but I had no idea how to use cleaning solutions. It would be like if I worked at a laundromat, but I have no idea how to fold laundry, right? Are you following my analogies here? Do you understand what I'm saying? How can you enforce the law when you don't know the law? How can you act like you're protecting and serving people when you don't know what the fuck the people need to be protected, when you don't know what the fuck the people need to be served? If you want to serve me, how about you mow my goddamn lawn, you piece of fucking shit? That's what I'm saying. So shit gets really, heated here. But we decide, you know what? Hey, they blocked the fucking bridge for us. Let's go somewhere else. So that's what we decide at this point. They arrest 2 people unconstitutionally, illegally arresting people. And again, that's why I need to be very clear that the police are, they're not like otherworldly godly beings. They have never read the Constitution. They have no idea what the law is. They have no idea what the hell they're doing. All they know is that they hate black people. All they know is that they hate protesters. All they know is that they hate people expressing their opinions if they disagree with them. That's all they know. And they will use all of their power to kill people that they disagree with, to attack people that they disagree with, to injure people that they disagree with, to charge people that they disagree with, and to ruin the lives of people that they disagree with. They will use all of their power to violate the First Amendment. Because again, if I disagree with someone, what do? I yell at them. I say, hey bitch, I disagree. When a cop disagrees with someone, they kill them. They end their life. They put them in prison for 40 years. They break their shoulders. They fucking shoot them dead on the street. They fucking block off their airways. They cause them organ failure. They spew chemical weapons into their lungs. That's what happens when cops disagree with someone. So I need you to understand. So much for the tolerant whatever. If that's your fucking bullshit position, you cannot be a supporter of the police. Right? So we block the bridge here. And, well, actually, they block the bridge for us. And then we leave. And so we go somewhere else. And we see that on the other side of the street, they've got, big trucks. They've got buses. They've got the whole works all lined up. And I this guy over here, this guy in this bus, man, I got to play this clip audio.
Military occupation. This is nothing short of a military occupation. As you can see, this guy definitely beats his wife. This guy probably beat his wife to death, to be honest. Jesus fucking Christ. Lord have mercy on that woman's soul.
Like, that motherfucker, imagine, right? Like, I'm serious. Like, imagine there's a bunch of people protesting you, and you just sit there like a goddamn fucking statue, looking like fucking, like, seriously, what is this guy's like whole thing? I don't know, man, but this motherfucker looked crazy. And so, I also want to remind everyone that 40% of police beat their wives. So we start deciding to march on the sidewalk, right? Because you can't arrest us if we're not in the street, technically. So we start marching on the sidewalk. And, again, we got megaphones, so we're being very loud, we're being very proud, and we're being obnoxious, and we're going to try to shut shit down. So we move on back to Airing House, which, again, is the main road of commerce. People decide to shut down the intersection. But there are a lot of cars here that did not want to play along with that. And so as a result, we have a lot of situations where, as you can see, there's some cars driving through the crowd slowly. There's a lot of Trump-supporting drivers that started driving into people. Now, no, I want to be very clear that no one was injured, no one was hurt. As you can see, there's a lot of cars driving wildly across the street. I did happen to get that red truck on tape. So this was a very dangerous predicament. There was also an altercation that I did not get on video that involved people throwing objects. I do not know exactly what happened in that instance, but people were throwing objects. People were screaming at each other. It was a huge shit show. And so we decided, you know what, we're just not going to do that at this current moment. It's too dark. We don't have enough people. And so we get out of the intersection and we decide to head back to the bridge because that's where the police, the police are at this point under the impression that we have all gone home. Because when we left the bridge the first time, we told them, hey, we're going home. Now this truck here, there was a photograph. This truck, the owner of a local business called Big Boss Burrito, owns that truck. And this truck was photographed, actually, really interestingly. This truck was photographed earlier in the day with a thin blue line flag. Right? Earlier in the day, this truck had a thin blue line flag, right? Look back here. Look at this, right? Look at that. I see an American flag. I think I see an American flag. Where's that thin blue line flag? Where'd it go? What happened? It's not there anymore. I can't see it. I looked for it. I was like, where is that? Where's the thin blue line flag? I can't see it. Right? So the owner of a local business called Big Boss Burritos, Trump supporting, police supporting, a disgusting motherfucker, so I'm never eating there again. I actually kind of like their food, but I'm never eating there again, so fuck them. I hope they burn in hell. But either way, so we pass by major businesses. Now, I want to keep in mind, this is a Saturday night. Curfew is midnight. There's a lot of businesses that want to get some business. And so what we decided to do is shut down an intersection in the middle of downtown where there's a lot of businesses that are still open. Some are closed. And so what we decided to do is group up here. We have some people meeting with us. And we decide to just hang out here for a little bit. There is absolutely zero police presence here. I believe they don't even know that we're here at this point. I am under the impression that they think that we went home. At this point, they are at the bridge still. And now I want to keep in mind this direction right here. This direction right down the street, that's the bridge. So I want to be very clear that this is the bridge. So they might, see us up here in some capacity. Now the bridge is this way, but then you make a right, and they're all like, you'll see it when I get to that video. So some of them might know that we're here, but either way, we decide to go back to the fucking bridge. So this is where they're heading. So you make that right, and then you've got this little grassy knoll over here, and then we've got the fucking stormtroopers just like hanging out by the grassy knoll. And they start marching up. They start getting in the goddamn street. And so, this is really funny. So when they get on the street, what we all do is, again, we're on the sidewalk, right? Because, hey, we know the law. Don't get on the street, right? So they get on the bridge and they get on the street and we all start chanting, like, get off the street, open the bridge, get off the street, which is really, really funny. And again, they're just, for whatever reason, there's some people, they open the bridge back up. There's some people, but they just shut the bridge back down. I don't know why. They just seemingly want to shut down this bridge so much. It's really interesting. But there is a standoff here And if you want to watch other live streams, there's a standoff here for a little decent bit. I didn't record much of it because I was participatory in the screaming. I love to scream at police. I'm a huge fan. And so we decide to move once the cops shut down the bridge again. And then there's this like group of other motherfuckers, like just kind of like, just chilling. They're just kind of be like, oh, like they're huddling up, right? So we're down here. They shut down the bridge a little bit. You see those motherfuckers, they're waiting. They're like ready to pounce, they're ready to kill people. Again, I want to remind everyone that this is a city of 18,000 people. This crowd right now is about 30, maybe 40 people at this point. We have more people than we did when we were at the bridge the first time. Because we were walking through some areas and more press came back out. Because a lot of press actually went out, like they left. Because they thought the protest was over, but then we continued. So I had to like text people. I was like, bitch, where are you? Right? I was like texting people, where are you at, bitch? Like shit's getting crazy out here. Like do your fucking job, press. No offense. I'm just chilling here. And so like they're back out. People are back out. The protest is gaining numbers. But at this point, people decide, you know what? There's really nothing we can do at this point. These cops start stalking us for whatever reason. And so it's getting late. And so people decide, you know what? We're just going to go home. And so that's kind of the situation. Because, again, at this point, it's around, I guess, 10:39. It's around. And so, it's getting late. And, again, I want to remind everyone, before the curfew was instituted to begin with, the protests for day 1 through, 8, I believe, before the curfew, or maybe 7, the first week of protests, either way, we organically broke up anywhere between 9 and 11. We'd usually end the march at around 10. People would hang out and go home at around, 10:30. So this is about standard for our protesting. But again, curfew is at midnight, yet they had all the military trucks out. They had all the school buses. They had all the tanks. They had the super soldiers. They had the guns. They had the fucking weapons. They had all that shit. 2 hours before curfew. Really makes you think. And so as you can see, I catch, this is an interesting video.
Cops are going in there.
As you can see, it says no firearms behind this point. Yet, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? The law says there's no firearms allowed. Yet, they're walking in there with guns strapped to their chest.
I don't know why they're going in there. They also look like they've got a lot of guns and ammo on them. For a peaceful crowd of about 25 people, these motherfuckers are looking to kill.
So, also, this is So these guys are following us, and I decide to do a little trolling.
Also remind everyone that 40% of these motherfuckers beat their wives or husbands. I see some ladies over there. Lord have mercy on their souls, by the way. Oh, they're talking to each other. Y'all have a good night now. Snot.
So that's my little jokey joke. So I go home after this. I'm home at this point, and that's the protest. Day 11, and it was again relatively dangerous. 2 people were arrested. Their First Amendment rights were violated. Their freedom of speech was suppressed. The police were rioting in the streets. Literally, we saw it, caught it on tape. The police were rioting in the streets. They wouldn't get the fuck out of the street. Look, I have it on tape. I'll scroll up. I'll scroll the fuck up. They were rioting and looting in the streets. Why do we have all these outside agitators rioting and looting in the streets? Why is that? I don't know. The world may never know why we have so many outside agitators rioting in the streets. They just happen to call themselves the Boys in Blue for whatever reason. So that makes it okay when they riot? That makes it okay when they occupy our streets and shut down our bridge? Hey, some of us need to get home. Why are they closing down the bridge? But yeah, that, what are you going to do? We have a military occupation in Elizabeth City, and it's not going to go anytime soon. And this shit is going to get probably more and more and more and more out of control as time goes on. And I hope everyone stays safe. But that's the protesting for day 11. And today is day 12. And so I'll be out there very shortly after this stream is over. And I will be covering what's going on. So, thank y'all for watching that. I appreciate that. If anyone has any questions, let me know, and I will try to respond. Ooh, my voice, it's broken. I'm broken.